Welcome back to the Child Abuse Prevention Program. In our last video, we looked at a variety of on-site behavioral boundaries that you can establish to protect the children in your care. Now let's look at the rest of our recommended behavioral boundaries and talk about how you can enforce them to better protect children. There are many cases where photos start out as innocent, but progress to provocative and then to indecent. When did it cross the line? We can't expect our children to navigate the gray areas and slippery slope of this seductive grooming process. We need to set a boundary that is black and white so that everyone knows when it's being crossed. Our recommendation is that you restrict employees from taking photographs of students unless it's part of specifically approved, publicly announced, school sanctioned events, such as a choir concert, school plays, or the end of year party. This level of restriction is particularly important with young children, but if it seems unrealistic as a next step in your current culture, we recommend you at least restrict employees from taking pictures of students unless there are two adults present. We understand that we live in a digital age, and photographs are an integral part of life for our kids and for many teachers and their teaching process. Unfortunately, the headlines clearly depict the danger of taking photos at school, and the stricter your policy is, the safer your students will be. You can provide additional protection for the students in your care by forbidding any device that has the capability of taking photos or videos in areas where there is an expectation of privacy, such as bathrooms and changing areas. Don't allow hands in other people's pockets. Child sexual abusers often attempt to disguise their sexual behaviors as games. One of the games child sexual abusers use is to put candy or money in their pockets and get the kids to reach in and get the prize. Of course, the abuser is receiving sexual gratification by children grabbing near their genital area. They're also desensitizing the children to touching them. This game can be played in reverse as well, so it's important to have a clear boundary that no one on campus is to put their hands in other people's pockets for any reason. Keep hands where they can be seen. Child sexual abusers are sometimes bold and willing to inappropriately touch children in the presence of other children and even adults because the risk adds to the thrill. The abusers conceal their activity by purposely obstructing visibility of their actions, such as sitting with a child and throwing a blanket over their laps, or asking a child to come to their desk and fondling them below the desk as they talk. Establish a policy of no use of masks or blindfolds, and no discussion or practice of bondage, scatting, fetishisms, or rituals. While we would like to think that the preclusion of this type of behavior would be obvious and not need to be documented, we've had multiple cases in recent years of sexual abuse that included blindfolding children and bondage on school campuses right here in California. Organized multi-abuser ritualistic abuse is much less common than single perpetrator abuse. However, just the mention of it can serve as a deterrent. So we recommend you include it in your boundaries and be sure not to disregard bizarre comments by kids. Instead, just follow up with a simple statement. That's interesting. Tell me more about that. As educators who care for the health, well-being, and future of the kids you serve, I'm sure it's disheartening to believe that sexual abuse is happening in our schools. As you can see, though, our efforts to educate you are more than just an academic or theoretical exercise. These headlines reflect stories of real children being hurt, and it's up to all of us in the school community, especially those on campus with our kids, to participate in the discussion of protecting their sexual innocence. We hope you can join us for our next segment on off-site boundaries.